A deadly explosion rocks London as the Conservative government is celebrating an election victory. Angry President Bush denies his re-election campaign is a mess. And Eye on America. Tonight, heat under feet. An up-close look at this country's fastest-growing sport. This is the CBS Evening News. Good evening. Dan Rather reporting. A deadly bomb explosion shook the center of London tonight. Police say the Irish Republican Army is, and I quote, back with a vengeance. The blast followed a stunning election victory by the Irish organization's arch-enemy, British Prime Minister John Major. CBS News correspondent Tom Fenton is on the scene in London.
There was a huge explosion tonight in London's financial district. It was followed by a second explosion almost 4 hours later. There were at least 2 dead and dozens of injured. Banks and other buildings were damaged. Police say they suspect the Irish Republican Army. It was a tragic ending to what had been a day of celebration. This afternoon, Prime Minister Major was basking in his historic accomplishment. The first time a British party has won 4 elections in a row since 1822.
All around the world, governments facing elections in recessions have tended to lose seats. Many of them have lost power. We have bucked that trend, and bucked that trend in a most spectacular fashion.
10 o'clock.
The opinion polls said he would lose.
Hung Parliament. This election is too close to call.
In the end, they were dead wrong. As the results poured in, they showed he had not only won, but had won as many votes as his famous predecessor in the last 2 elections.
This was a famous victory because the people were not going to have socialism. They wanted and insisted on having a conservative government.
It was a bitter pill for the Labour Party and for its leader, Neil Kinnock, who thought he had victory in his grasp.
The day will come when, with the Labour government, the country will get better in its spirit, in its soul, in its fortune.
After years of effort to move his party away from old-fashioned socialism, Kinnock is now expected to step down. The Conservatives defeated Labour in the middle of this recession with a scare campaign that slammed it as the party of higher taxes and inflation. The Conservatives' victory set off a buying binge in the London financial district. $35 billion poured into a skyrocketing stock market. With a new 5-year lease on 10 Downing Street, Major's first promise was to move the country out of recession. Tom Fenton, CBS News, London.
Campaigning for his re-election, President Bush today talked about the British elections, U.S. welfare reform, and he made a surprising political admission. White House correspondent Susan Spencer has details.
With the Rose Garden as his backdrop, Mr. Bush trumpeted what's been for him a banner week. A conservative win in Britain, a Noriega loss in court, a Democratic campaign in chaos. He hotly denied reports that he thinks his own campaign is a mess as well, but seemed momentarily stumped when asked just what is his top priority if reelected.
Single goal? Oh, there's several goals, and I've been spelling them all out.
He finally settled on education reform, a likely campaign issue where he claims leadership. On welfare reform, another likely issue, Mr. Bush has said virtually nothing until today, when, citing an experiment in Wisconsin, he unveiled his plan, namely, let states experiment. Wisconsin would let parents keep more of their earnings, but cap benefits after 2 children. The president was amazingly candid about his sudden burst of interest in the subject.
I think the politics drive some things. They get much more clearly in focus every 4 years, and then you go ahead and try to follow through and do something about them.
Democrats had an even less charitable explanation.
For the last 20 years, the Republicans have had a deck of race cards that they play whenever they get in trouble. Sometimes they play it on crime. Sometimes they play it on public assistance. This week, it's on welfare reform.
If the charge is anyone that wants to change the welfare system is a bigot, I just would totally reject that.
In any case, welfare reform fits neatly into the president's new message, namely that he, the man at the helm for the last 3 years, is the one to turn to for change. Susan Spencer, CBS News, the White House.
A man who's thinking about running for president as an independent has his own take on the welfare problem. H. Ross Perot, the successful Texas entrepreneur, talked about it today at a news conference in Washington.
Our primary job in this country, overriding any other, is to stabilize the deteriorating job base, because as you lose jobs, you lose taxpayers. And here's an interesting one not many people think about. When a taxpayer becomes a welfare user, his or her welfare check exceeds what their payments used to be to the IRS. So there's more than a double hit.
On other matters, Perot said today that he's never used drugs and never cheated on his taxes or his wife. In California, this was sentencing day for the man behind the biggest single savings and loan failure. CBS News correspondent Bill Lagatuda reports on an emotional day in court for Charles Keating and his victims.
The man whose very name has come to symbolize America's savings and loan crisis came to court today to beg for mercy. He brought his family, his grandchildren for support. But also in the room were many of Charles Keating's victims, the elderly investors who, all told, lost more than $250 million. And today were in no mood for compassion.
Many of them sick and living on a fixed income. They have been sentenced by this man to a life of misery and poverty.
It is this court's obligation to wake him up and make him responsible by putting him in jail and making them pay back everything or throw away the key.
Does he understand the shame I felt? Try it, Mr. Keating. For the rest of your life, with your wife, try living on Social Security checks.
Keating was convicted of 17 counts of fraud for selling worthless junk bonds from his former Lincoln Savings and Loan, the bailout of which is expected to cost U.S. taxpayers more than $2.5 billion. Keating's lawyer told the court his client had sorrow for the bondholders, that he should be sentenced to community service, not jail. But in the end, the judge sided with the victims, ordering the one-time high-living financier to prison for 10 years.
I'm sure Mr. Keating felt as though he could buy his way. He had bought everything else in his lifetime, except he couldn't buy the jury and he couldn't buy the judge.
Charles Keating went to jail tonight, denied bail. He faces federal racketeering charges this summer, and his victims are suing him in civil court, asking more than $1 billion in damages. Bill Lagatuda, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, deception and the American press, war, lies, and videotape in the Persian Gulf. Also, a new health plan for children without insurance.
Now you can ask Angela Lansbury about Bufferin.
Angela, you said on TV that Bufferin's effective pain relief. Is it really strong aspirin?
I'll say it is. Extra strength Bufferin's the strongest dose of aspirin you can buy. 1,000 milligrams.
Angela, how can Bufferin be so strong if it has buffers?
That's a good question. I've learned the buffers don't weaken it. They just help prevent aspirin's stomach upset. Bufferin's great pain relief.
Shouldn't you discover the strength of Bufferin?
Stay within the lines. The lines are our friends. Stay within. Stay within the lines. The lines are our friends.
Introducing the world's first V6 crayon.
Are you listening?
The Isuzu Rodeo, built to go way outside the lines.
There is at least a ray of hope tonight for settling that 5-month-old Caterpillar strike. The company and the United Auto Workers agreed today to start talking again. Thousands of strikers in Illinois are defying a Caterpillar company ultimatum to go back to work or be replaced permanently. A bus wreck in Halifax, North Carolina today injured at least 23 people. The bus was taking a high school ROTC group to Virginia when it ran off the road and flipped over. The driver has been charged with careless and reckless driving. He told police he fell asleep at the wheel. A child's injury or illness is enough for any mother or father to worry about, but for many, there is another worry: how to pay for their children's health care. In Florida, some parents now don't have to worry quite as much. Doug Tennell explains why.
8-year-old Selena Oli just went to the doctor for the first time in nearly 2 years because her family could finally afford health insurance and a checkup.
Every now and then I believe her cough is from her asthma. But I haven't had the insurance or the money to take her to have it checked out. So now we will.
And so will thousands of kids like Selena, who now are covered by an experimental group insurance plan called Healthy Kids. Offered by schools in Florida's Volusia County and subsidized by the federal government, cost for the coverage will range between nothing and $60 a month. About half the kids in Selena's school have had no insurance until now.
We have a little child in kindergarten who can't hear, and he can't hear because he has to have tubes in his ears, and he can't do that because they can't afford it.
Like many other families, Selena's parents fell into a coverage gap, earning too much to qualify for Medicaid and not enough to afford a private policy.
Nearly 10 million American kids are currently without any kind of health insurance. The Healthy Kids program is being considered as one possible remedy to that nationwide problem. But its creators concede it's not a comprehensive solution to America's health care crisis. It's simply a bigger Band-Aid, not a cure.
There's still going to be people in that community and in the communities wherever, as we expand, that are not going to have access to health care. And that's the way we ration health care in this country. We ration it on the basis of what your income is.
When Selena's 12-year-old sister Diane came down with an ear infection, a trip to the emergency room at a local hospital and a prescription drug cost her family almost $200.
Yeah, it was one check on.
How'd you get by that week?
Barely.
Diane discovered she has another ear infection, but her prescription cost just $3, not $70, and Selena got a clean bill of health for free. Doug Tennell, CBS News, Daytona Beach.
Stay here with us now for more CBS News. We'll tell you why the best airfares may not be the ones you've been hearing about.
When the painting job is this big, it's time to get to Sears. Because right now, all Sears Best Easy Living paint is on sale, as low as $15.88 a gallon. It's one-coat coverage you can count on, only from Sears.
A message to everyone who flies from American Airlines. Starting Monday, April 13th, American introduces a dramatic new pricing program that brings true value back to air travel. It all begins with American's new Anytime Fare for Business, which saves you 38% off today's full coach fare, any day, on any American or American Eagle domestic flight, with no advance purchase required. For leisure travel, you can save even more with our new 7-day and 21-day plan ahead fares. While these fares are non-refundable, they are now reusable. Finally, our new first-class fare saves you 20 to 50% throughout the continental U.S. This is not a sale. This is a straightforward pricing approach that has been long overdue in the airline industry. A new way of doing business from American Airlines, the one airline bringing value back to air travel.
Bad allergies?
Terrible. I need my Benadryl.
Dristan Allergy has a decongestant. This Benadryl doesn't.
Well, then I definitely would try that. I feel fantastic. I can breathe through my nose. I don't need a tissue anymore.
New Dristan Allergy, the face of relief today.
You wouldn't believe the bad back, the stress, the anxiety this woman's suffering. You're right. Don't believe it. It's part of an insurance scam. 60 Minutes, Sunday.
Officials in Nicaragua say as many as 15,000 people were evacuated from their villages today as a volcano spread ash and sand over much of the country's Pacific coast. At least 2 people were injured. The Nicaraguan volcano has erupted 15 times in the last 150 years. The devastation in Afghanistan has been caused by years of vicious civil war. Today, the United Nations Secretary General announced what he calls a first step of reconciliation. He says that warring parties now have agreed to form a council that will eventually hand power to an interim government. The Defense Department of the United States came out today with a 1,300-page study of the Persian Gulf War. It claims lots of successes and admits a few failures, such as late and misleading intelligence reports that led to unnecessary bombing strikes. Some of what the public was told about the war was misleading, too. And as correspondent David Martin reports, in some cases, that was deliberate.
Everyone now knows the main attack against the Iraqi army came from the west, a giant left hook. At the time, thousands of lives depended on catching the Iraqis looking the wrong way. out to sea.
If we wanted the Iraqis to continue to believe that we were going to conduct a massive amphibious operation in this area.
In wartime, Churchill said, truth is so precious she should always be attended by a bodyguard of lies. This was one of those lies. Operation Imminent Thunder, a practice amphibious landing in Saudi Arabia. Today's report on the conduct of the war says Imminent Thunder was the first in a series of operations designed to deceive the Iraqi command. But to deceive Saddam Hussein, the military had to use the American media to deliver that false message.
Nobody set out to use the press to confuse the Iraqis. The military did set out to use the military to confuse the Iraqis, and the press covered that part of it just as they covered everything else.
Should the military use the press to deceive the enemy? Soldier-turned-journalist David Hackworth says he and other reporters at Newsweek knew an amphibious assault was not in the cards. It continued to play it up.
We knew it was going to save lives. It was our job to go along with this deception.
But the reporter who won a Pulitzer Prize for his coverage of the war feels the press should never be party to deception.
The government routinely uses us as diplomatic couriers and messengers, but it's our job to spot that, smell that, and avoid it.
War requires both the press and government to balance two priceless commodities, truth and human life. Neither came out of the Persian Gulf War unscathed. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
There is more CBS Evening News ahead, including the Money Crunch and Eye on America, so stay here with us.
These are the world's best gardeners, champion gardeners in the Guinness Book of Records. What's the secret of their success?
I grew my world record chrysanthemum with Miracle-Gro.
With Miracle-Gro, I get twice as many tomatoes as I used to get.
Just look at my 279-pound watermelon.
Miracle-Gro is that good.
Hey, if world champion gardeners depend on Miracle-Gro, shouldn't you?
Now the Miracle-Gro No Clog 2. It's 3 feeders in one. It's a gentle feeder, a wand feeder, a fast feeder for lawns and shrubs.
Here's the problem. You need to remodel your house, but you don't know if you'll ever get to do it. Because in between need and get is a gap called not enough money. Well, it's easy to bridge that gap between need and get. Just go to First Interstate Bank, because First Interstate offers home improvement loans, car loans, and secured lines of credit at some of our lowest rates in years. So to go from need to get, just go to First Interstate Bank, and we'll help you get what you need.
Working your fingers to the bone? You deserve a fresh lunch. Use Ziploc brand sandwich bags with the gripper zipper. Tough, tiny teeth, you can feel dripping, so you know freshness is locked in. My favorite, finger sandwiches. There's only one Ziploc.
Look at me, enjoying a crisp red apple. Even with my dentures, thanks to Super Polygrip.
Super Polygrip holds so tight, many denture wearers can enjoy more of their favorite foods.
Even apples.
Super Polygrip.
It is challenging. It is breathtaking. It is a tradition unlike any other. The Masters on CBS.
The Tokyo stock market bounced back from record losses to post a near-record gain today. Wall Street again took its cue from the Japanese. The Dow Jones Industrial Average closed up more than 30 points. Also heading up, the cost of living. The government says now officially consumer prices jumped 0.5% in March. That's the biggest gain in a year and a half. But analysts are writing it off as a one-month blip. They say inflation is still well under control. Prices will be plunging on U.S. commercial airlines as of next week. The carriers are gambling that they can lure more passengers with lower fares. Ray Brady has some tips on how you can fare best in the money crunch, making it in America.
Hearing that American Airlines is bringing fares down to earth, travelers were flying high.
We think it's great that they've become lower.
Newspaper ads scream the news again today. Coach fares down an average 38%. Some first-class fares down even more. But should you run right out now and buy that Florida ticket or plan now for the family vacation? Many airlines are rushing into the fare war, matching cuts. The next 72 hours should bring more details, more prices.
I would say let's sit back a little bit. We've got the time. The seats are still there. There's no need to rush out today and buy.
Not only that, it still pays to stop and shop. With its new rates,
American will fly you New York to Los Angeles, advance fare, midweek flight, $460 round trip. But on America West, same flight, better deal, $338 round trip.
It's happened very often that we've ended up being on a plane where someone has paid half the fare that we've paid.
The new low airfares may slow that down, but check your neighbor's ticket anyway. What's called the hidden city gimmick is still airborne. Fly, for example, United, New York to Chicago, $250 one way, same price as American. Fly United New York, Chicago, Columbus, Ohio. You pay $200 and get off where you want. And try this one on. Atlanta, Dallas, Fort Worth on American, $250. Same airline, Atlanta, Dallas, Little Rock, Arkansas, $200, and you know where to get off.
The hidden cities, yes, I think you're going to find those are still going to be anywhere between 20 to 25 to 30% lower if the consumer doesn't mind taking the time looking for it.
One really good deal, American's doing away with that no-refund policy on discount tickets. For a small fee, you'll get a credit good for a future flight, and other airlines are expected to follow suit. Ray Brady, CBS News, The Money Crunch.
Coming up next, Eye on America tonight, rollerblades. Strap them on or get out of the way.
People loved the old type of granola because it was loaded with great taste. They didn't know it was also loaded with fat. Introducing a new type of granola. New Kellogg's low-fat granola for the new granola type. All the delicious whole grains, almonds, and raisins you love, but only half the fat of leading granolas. So if you like the great taste of granola, but don't want all the fat, try new Kellogg's low-fat granola. Great taste, half the fat.
To fight the effects of corrosion, the body of the Buick Regal has been built with two-side galvanized steel that goes beyond what most car makers use. Beyond Honda, beyond Toyota. In fact, all Buicks are warranted against out-of-body rust-through for 6 years or 100,000 miles. And that's a promise you don't have to take with a grain of salt.
Grandma's got a date. What's a date?
Closeness. You might hesitate if you wore a diaper. So Johnson & Johnson created Serenity Guards. Bladder control protection so advanced, it holds as much as something 5 times its size and stays dry, locking liquid in. And now there's a new Serenity Guard, Super Plus, with even more super absorbance. So if you've been looking for extra protection, give yourself hugs for discovering new Serenity Super Plus.
This plant is in trouble. Maybe so are you. Because what will you do? And how will you do it? With the one who guides you every step of the way. Ortho. It's our nature to help.
For as long as man has been getting around on 2 feet, he's been looking for ways to get around faster. Enter the wheel, and man was on a roll. In tonight's Eye on America, the state of the art. John Blackstone reports on a new trend, rollerblades, the hottest things on 2 feet.
Get on him! Shoot!
This year, rollerblades are set to make it into the mainstream of American sport. Inline roller skates are no longer just a fad. They're becoming a fixture.
It's a big thing. It's better than baseball. It's better than football.
And it's often the fastest thing on 2 feet.
It's fun to pass up bicycles. They look at you like you're crazy. The speed is exhilarating. We get up to 35 miles an hour in the sprint.
The skates are fast, all right, but it's not just the speed the skaters love. It's a newfound freedom on wheels. As springtime arrives in New York, joggers in the park may be discovering they're outnumbered.
Do not run them down. Do not yell at them. Really try your best not to be rude.
This new skating technology has now been accepted for international competition. The skates will be used for the first time in the next Pan American Games.
Center, get up there! Center, go!
As others got ready for the baseball season, hundreds of kids in Southern California went nowhere near a diamond. Their weekend was spent on blades.
I've played soccer and baseball, and I just like this one a lot more. It's better.
The Tri-Valley Roller Hockey League has 33 teams with almost 400 players.
And a waiting list. People begging, parents calling me saying, please, please, we missed it. We didn't know. Please put us on a team.
The team doctor for the New York Jets has prescribed rollerblades for more than a dozen football players recovering from knee surgery. Joe Mott and Ken Wisenhunt are the latest to try to skate their way back into shape.
It's not the pounding that you can get from aerobics, racquetball, and running. It's more of a gliding sensation.
It's not just fitness and sport. This is transportation, too.
Mass transit prices are going up. Taxis are too expensive. Car insurance is skyrocketing. I can get anywhere on my skates for free.
When you give baby rollerblade a hug, you can activate her, and she really starts to rollerblade. Whoa.
Mattel Toys is even introducing a rollerblade doll this summer.
She's got a really vulnerable look that little girls really love.
The word vulnerable seems to come up a lot when people are skating.
You're getting some exercise, even if you're not.
You know, it's like, oh, you going to fall? Well, no, I'm not going to fall. And everybody's vulnerable, and everybody feels a little more related. You go 1, 2, 3.
In San Francisco, members of the Golden Gate Park Skate Patrol help the newcomers who just keep rolling in.
More than 6 million Americans tried this last year. Enthusiasts call it the fastest growing sport in the country. And that trend, like a lot of novice skaters, shows no sign of coming to a quick stop.
Okay, I got the tree. I got the tree.
The thing is, if you need to stop, you will.
Well, I did it on my rear. It was really clever. You just sort of flip back and land.
Skate makers expect to sell $500 million worth this year, 10 times the industry's sales just 3 years ago. Some say it's no accident this boom has come during a recession. The skates aren't cheap, up to $250 a pair. But after that, the rest of the fun is free. In San Francisco, this is John Blackstone for Eye on America.
Rollerblades come in as roller skates go the way of the horse and buggy, hominy wagons, and spats. Part of our world tonight. Bob Schieffer will be rolling in with the news tomorrow. Dan Rather for the CBS Evening News. I'll see you Monday. Good night.
CBS News.
We like to play them over and over again.
They're basically about violence.
Know what they're talking about? Chances are it's already in your living room. The story on the CBS Evening News, Monday.
The people of CBS News. Dan Rather.
Connie Chung.
Mike Wallace.
Paula Zahn.
Ed Bradley.
Leslie Stahl.
Harry Smith.
Morley Safer.
Bob Schieffer.